Hi, my name's Lilly Hubbard, and this is my testimony. So I am an ex-New Ager. I used to be a practicing Hindu. I was a yoga teacher. I was involved in the occult. I dabbled in witchcraft, and I traveled the world seeking God, seeking truth and understanding in Eastern religion. I've been living in Thailand for the last 6.5 years, and my husband is Thai, and he was raised Buddhist. But 2.5 years ago, the truth found me, and the truth set me free, and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And shortly after, my husband also gave his life to Jesus Christ, and we were baptized. And a few weeks after that, I found out I was pregnant, and God has blessed us in so many ways. And I have so much more peace than I ever had when I was a yoga teacher, a Hindu, and in the New Age. So this is my story, and only less than a handful of people know this story. But I'm so happy to be able to finally share it with you all. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. I was born in Annapolis, Maryland. My parents were in the restaurant industry business. My mom had a catering business, and they owned Cafe Normandy in downtown Annapolis. My dad suffered from mental illness and was emotionally unstable, which caused a lot of financial problems, a lot of pain in my family. And from an early age, I was very motivated to be successful because I didn't want to have the same hardships that we faced. And I also, though, from an early age, from my early teens, started drinking and experimenting in drugs. So I always had addiction problems from early on. When I was 18 years old, I met my partner of 10 years. His name is Mike. And he started working in his parents' restaurant while I started university. And he was really passionate about becoming a cook and a chef. And he was becoming very talented. And I was also really passionate about restaurants and food and cooking. And it was in university that I decided that I wasn't going to continue on into grad school, and Mike and I were going to open our own restaurant together. And I thought that if we had our own restaurant, we were going to be successful, and I would be happy, and everything would be perfect in my life. So as soon as I graduated from university, we moved to New Orleans, where my parents were living, my mom, my stepdad, my brother and sister, and we were so excited. We got jobs in some of the best restaurants in the city, and we were just really passionate and about learning and opening our own restaurant. And there was one building in particular that was a couple of blocks from where my parents lived and we lived, that we fell in love with. And I guess somehow I knew that this building was going to be ours one day. It was a beautiful old building, like 150 years old, 2 floors, 20-foot ceilings, crystal chandeliers. It was like your dream restaurant. So the end of 2018, we opened Coquette Restaurant in the heart of the Garden District. I called up all my friends that had worked with me at Commander's Palace, and I was like, do you want to come work with me? I'm about to open up a restaurant. And they were like, yeah. And we were all so excited about opening this restaurant. So when we opened the doors, I was only 24 years old. I had no management experience. And besides having problems with alcoholism, what a lot of people didn't know is that 2 months before we opened Coquette, my father passed away, and he died under traumatic circumstances. He had a brain aneurysm suddenly, and he was on life support, and it was up to my sisters and I to make the decision to take him off life support. And looking back, this really weighed on me for years. But I was not able to, I was not able to properly grieve, because I had to focus everything I had on opening Coquette and opening the restaurant. So there was so much pressure on me So Mike's parents came down to help us get the building cleaned up and ready to open. And it was then Mike's mom mentioned that she sensed something in the building that, wow, like it felt like there was a spirit there or was haunted. And it didn't really scare me or frighten me. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, most buildings in New Orleans are haunted or have spirits in them. But as the restaurant was open for more and more time, I just delved deeper into alcoholism, and I was becoming more emotionally unstable, and the pressure of running the business was so tremendous on me, and the fact that I hadn't really healed from my dad's passing. And yeah, there was different stories about the building too. Like, people told us that there were rumors that Lee Harvey Oswald had hid out in the building after he shot Kennedy, and there's other spooky things that would happen, like we would be sitting at the bar and bottles of wine would fly off the tops of the shelf, or you'd hear stomping. And it was something about the building that really was like repulsing me. Like, I felt like I was hearing voices in my head that were compelling me and telling me to even drink more, like just so much torment. So I really had to get out and focus on my own healing, my own health. And so I trained my staff up to take over the wine program, the cocktail program. And I just, for a couple of years, I isolated myself. I lived in a high-rise apartment with my 2 dogs, and I was so lonely and so broken. In hindsight, I know I had PTSD. And like I said before, I was a really severe alcoholic. I had tried to reach out to some rehab programs, but they were too expensive. I was able to get sober by going to the doctor and asking to be prescribed Antabuse, which is a medicine that if you drink and you take it, you get physically ill. So that was a blessing in my life, because I was able to stay sober for 1.5 years. But it was during this period of time when I started going to yoga classes, and at first I really did not like yoga, and the yoga studio I was going to was very Hindu, so they would begin every yoga class off with chanting to Hindu gods. But I needed to get out of the house and be around people, and I really did not want it. My mom tried to get me to go to church with her, but I really rejected Jesus completely. I was actually angry at Jesus. And I was also really influenced by Oprah growing up. And I believed that, well, Oprah said she's a Christian, and she believed that all paths led to the light. So I saw there was nothing wrong with delving into Eastern religion. And I thought that Hinduism, because Hinduism was the oldest religion, that maybe it was the most powerful one. So at one of the yoga classes, they announced that there would be a yoga philosophy workshop on the Yoga Sutras, and I signed up. And something told me I just have to go. And it would be an opportunity for me just to be around other people, and I wouldn't have to really talk much. And so I did this yoga philosophy class, and it was then that I was introduced to the idea of that these techniques could actually give you superpowers, which they call siddhis. And I was sold then. You know, I'd been watching a lot of TV because I've been so isolated, and I was watching like Stan Lee and watching those stories about the guy that jumps from like a 5-story building into a few inches of water. And I was like, yes, I believe in superpowers, and I want them, so I will do whatever it takes to get it. And after that, I went full in. I signed up for every workshop they had, every psychic reading, like Reiki, energy healing, any New Age modality you could think of. And in the New Age, you believe that your thoughts create your reality, that you're manifesting. Everything is about manifesting. So Mike was running the restaurant, had the whole responsibility of running the restaurant, while I was manifesting, doing yoga and meditating. And it seemed like everything was working out, because Coquette was really becoming famous We were getting a lot of write-ups in the newspapers. We were having celebrities come eat there, Anthony Bourdain, and at one point even Oprah came in to eat. So we were all really happy about that. And then we decided to open up a second restaurant. I had gone to Sedona and gotten a tarot card reading, and they said I was going to reap the harvest in the fall. So all of a sudden we had this opportunity to open up another restaurant. And as things turned out, it didn't work out, which ended up being a big financial burden. And it was another dark time, and I just thought, oh, I just need to do more yoga. It's because I'm not doing enough yoga. So now I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to sign up for a 6-month yoga teacher training, and I'm going to become a yogi. I didn't really care about teaching yoga. I just wanted to have, power and confidence. So I signed up, did the yoga teacher training, and it was then that I really learned about Hinduism and started becoming a Hindu. I was chanting to Hindu gods daily, using a harmonium, which is an instrument from India, a keyboard, and you use that to call out to Hindu deities, gods, right? So my relationship with Mike was coming to an end. It was becoming really toxic, and we were both each other's first loves, and we needed to go on our own. We were so codependent, and because we opened the restaurant, like, that really, held us together. We weren't married, and it was just time really to go our own separate ways. And it was a process but I went on a yoga retreat in Mexico at the end of 2012 for the Mayan calendar, and my sister came with me. And it was on this yoga retreat that I really started to see the another occult side of these things, or a dark side of what I was doing, because it was a small retreat. It was a small group of us led by my guru, because I'd done the yoga teacher training with her. She was my mentor, my guru, right? So she led a little retreat within all these other New Age people hanging out in an eco lodge on the beach. And the other people surrounding us, many of the other people there were insane, like literally insane, talking to themselves, talking to trees, saying that they are God, like a lot of insanity. And also I found out on this retreat that a lot of the yoga people going down this path were doing ayahuasca and psychedelics in order to tap into the spiritual realm and to get spiritual powers, which made me even more interested in that side, because at that point I was truly a spiritual junkie, like just always looking for the next spiritual fix, right? Okay, so on this retreat I really saw something dark, because there was one girl there who, she really bothered me. I was bothered by her eyes, by she was not a very nice person. I'm not saying I was nice at that time, but there was something about her that freaked me out. And she didn't really want to be a part of our group, even though she was a part of the group. She held back, and then she left a couple days earlier. And when she left, I think a few of us were relieved that she was gone. But on the last day, my sister and I were sitting there in the hammock, and she came back, and she looked like a ghost, and she grabbed me, and she'd been mean to me the whole time, and she grabbed me and hugged me and wouldn't let go, and she was like rambling and crying, and she said she'd seen so much darkness. She had gone off into the jungle to some meeting and ceremony that was being arranged where thousands of people were going, and so I don't know what happened to her, but something happened to her. And it really freaked my sister and I out, because you could tell this girl had seen something that was dark. And this girl had beautiful brown curly hair, a mane of beautiful brown curly hair. But when she came back, the front part of her hair, a big chunk of her hair, had turned completely white in a matter of like 24 hours, 36 hours. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. So we got back from that retreat, and oh my gosh, I felt so much spiritual attack. I had no idea what was going on. So I just thought it was because like my relationship was ending. I went and spent some time with my family. My parents had moved to Idaho, so I spent some time there. And I was like really grieving the end of my relationship and trying to figure out even how to get out of it, because we were business partners, you know? So everything was tied up. But then I had the opportunity, a big opportunity came my way. I had a friend who I'd been, well, he's a Vietnamese acupuncturist, and he had a little clinic in New Orleans. And when I started doing the yoga, I also started learning acupuncture with him. And he invited me to go to Vietnam on a volunteer trip where he takes people throughout the country and to blind centers and teaches the blind how to do acupuncture. And I was so afraid of going, but I felt so called to do it. I knew like that was what I needed to do, to really spread my wings, to face my fears and really break the spiritual ties with Mike, to learn how to be a woman on my own and not in a codependent relationship. So I went to Vietnam, and it was an incredible trip, and it really helped me in a lot of ways. I don't do acupuncture anymore, but it started a whole new life for me, because when the trip ended, when that month ended, I traveled through Cambodia and into Thailand. And the first day I was in Thailand, I walked down the beach, and then I met Watt, my future husband. I found love. And I'm gonna stop the video now. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, and God bless you all. I'm gonna be putting out part 2 soon, and to warn you, part 2 is going to be much heavier than this one. Please share this with whoever you know, and pray for me, pray for my family, and I'll be praying for you all my Facebook followers, YouTube subscribers. I have a lot I need to say that God wants me to say with the world, and it doesn't just end with my testimony, even though I'm starting this YouTube channel with my testimony. So thank you all. God bless you.